Hello, I'm harvesting a bunch of dahlias today, so I thought I would show you guys everything that I do to get a good vase life out of my dahlias. Dahlia vase life can be a little bit tricky, but there's some methods and some knowledge that really help to make this flower a worthwhile cut flower. I'm starting off with sterilized buckets and clean fresh water, and then I'm adding a hydration solution to the water. The hydration solution helps the dahlias with the initial water uptake, which in turn increases the vase life. Using boiling water or hot water and dipping the stems or letting the stems sit in a couple inches of that water until it cools down is sort of a home remedy also for hydration. So if you're just doing flowers for yourself, it's something that you could try. All right, I'm out in the hoop house and I'm gonna start harvesting, but before I do that, there's one more really important pre-harvest thing that you can do to have good quality dahlias with good vase life, and that is watering before you harvest. So I have my dahlias getting watered early in the morning so that when I go out to cut, they are well hydrated. It actually makes a really big difference for dahlias. Here's a great little patch to use as an example because I haven't deadheaded this one for a while. I'm looking for dahlias where the petals have not begun to recurve backwards too much on the stem. So you can see this one here is super ripe. The petals have rounded all the way back. I'm looking for dahlias like this, where they haven't really begun to curve backwards. This dahlia is gonna give me the best vase life. And on a ball dahlia, this is what I'm looking for. This bloom here has barely started to open. This one here would also be a good candidate. It's still quite fresh, but you can see they're starting to curve back. I would still cut this one. And this one you can see the petals are curved all the way back and they're also feeling soft and waxy. On an anemone type dahlia, I'm wanting to get them just as they are opening like this, rather than when they are all fluffed out and more mature like this. And similarly, on a collarette, I want to get them just as they're opening like this. If I wait until they're fully open, they will often shatter within a day. This is Labyrinth. Isn't she gorgeous? As a dinner plate dahlia, she's a little bit trickier in terms of vase life. Dahlias come in such a beautiful array of color choices and flower form types, but it can get us into a little bit of trouble in terms of vase life because not all the different types of dahlias are going to perform the same way. For the longest possible vase life, I'm reaching for ball and pom-pom dahlias. These ones here are Snow Hosanna. These dahlias will last a week or more in a vase. They're also a bit more durable. They don't show damage as easily. So for retail work, for everyday flowers, market bouquets, these are the type of dahlias that I'm focusing on. I also like to mix decoratives in, especially if I'm mixing them in with ball varieties. Decoratives will usually last about 5 days. Some varieties are better than others, so it's helpful to get to know your varieties. This one here is Chilson's Pride. This one will definitely last 5, if not 6 days. One trick to know with dahlias is that if you get a bloom coming off like this is the same variety. This is from Chilson's Pride, but this one just happens to have an open center. These ones aren't going to last as long when they're open like this. This one's only going to last me 2 or 3 days, so this is the kind of one that I'm going to avoid for my market bouquets. 5 days on these guys as well, as long as I harvest at the right time. This anemone is Mexico. And when it comes to the incredible dinner plate dahlias, sometimes these ones are better left on the stem. I have had certain varieties that just melt as soon as they are cut. But with a few of the varieties, as long as you cut them at the right time, you can expect maybe 2 or 3 days from them. So these kinds of dahlias are really better suited for event work, for bridal bouquets, and events where the vase life isn't as big of a deal. Back to work now to process dahlias before I let them sit and condition. Conditioning is actually a crucial part of the vase life for my dahlias. Letting them to sit and recover from being cut is actually really important. Also important is removing excess foliage, so I will go through and take off any excess that will take away from the vase life of the main flower. But here's a little trick. This is something that I do if I'm going to the trouble of cutting long stems off like this. I actually save these With the buds and the foliage, these have lovely texture and make handy filler, especially if I'm short on foliage. Here's a whole bunch I saved. These make really great bouquet filler. There's one final step for me, and that is flower food. I use flower food once the dahlias have been conditioned and have been put into bouquets, and I find it makes a significant difference on vase life. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like and the subscribe buttons for my channel, that would be super helpful for me. Thank you so much. See you next time.